What's up, guys? What's up? Welcome back to my channel. I want to appreciate you guys, letting you know that I appreciate you guys being here. I want to say thank you for subscribing and commenting and just engaging with my content. I appreciate it. This is going to be a story time, and this story time is about the time my baby daddy, the father of my 3 children, tried to get me to rob a bank with him. Now, I was with my baby daddy from the time I was like 16 to the time I was like 18. And in those 16, 17, 18, 3 little years, we had 3 kids back to back to back to back. So my oldest was born in 96, the next one was 97, and the next one was 98. So in this story, the moral of this story is, fellas, men, make sure that your daughters know that they're loved. Because my biggest issue was I didn't get any love from my father, number one, growing up. So the first guy that said he loved me, I jumped on that. And I'm not ashamed to say that. Shit, you got some family members that's fucked up too. Or you might even have made a mistake or two. You know what I'm saying? God forbid that you are perfect, right? But this is my story. And a lot of people don't like to be vulnerable, but I do. One thing that I've learned about life is if you're a stand-up person, you know what I'm saying, you stand on your truth, you are real, a lot of people will fuck with you. Me personally, I don't like fake. So I'm going to give you the real. And this is my real story. Now, this is when I was younger. Like I said, I met my kid's father when I was 16 years old. And I came from a home that didn't have a lot of love. So I was a virgin when I met him. And I held out. Like I was basically holding out and just was like, scared. You know what I'm saying? Scared to do anything crazy as far as sex-wise. All my friends was doing what they do. I was the one that was like, no. But this particular person came along and made me feel like he was totally different than anybody that I ever had met. And he wasn't in the circle of people that I normally hang around. He normally would be in that circle of people, but he would go from North Carolina to South Carolina. And at this particular time, when I moved to this area, he was in South Carolina. So I had been there damn near a whole year dealing with this certain group amount of people, which were my friend group. And he wasn't there. So all of a sudden, one day he popped up. And the one guy that my friend's brother was a pervert. I mean, I think we was like 16, 15, 16. They would call my friend's brother a pervert, right? They would be like, oh, he's sleeping with his cousin, and the cousin had a child with special needs. And they was like, that's why the child has special needs. Mind you, we was like 15, 16, me and his sister and the friends. And he would try to sleep with us. And you know what I'm saying? He was like 18, 19, maybe in the 20s. My baby daddy at the time was 18, but I don't think he wasn't around. So it wasn't no big deal. So this whole year I'm around these people, and this dude is trying to come with this girl, and he's just in the mix, messing with all these different girls. And I was just, like I said, I was just chilling. I was just doing me. I was, at that point in time, I was scared of giving up the booty. And I was cool with that. So when my baby daddy came back in town, I wish I would have ran. I'm just gonna be like, when young girls, when your family tell you to leave a dude alone, please go with what they tell you. It's something that they see in this dude that you don't see. You know what I'm saying? And at that time, my brother at the time told me, like, this dude is a little too old for you, right? I didn't care. Me and him started hanging out, and what really got my attention with him is the dude, my friend's brother that they called the pervert. He basically was swooping in and was like, don't talk to that dude. That dude, you know what I'm saying? He's sleeping with all these girls. He nasty. He just this, he that. And me and him just started kicking it. Like, we was just cool. And he had a car while the people that I was around didn't have cars. And, you know what I'm saying? We just started kicking it. Mind you, he was too old for me. He was. But, again, I had nobody to say, don't deal with him other than my brother. And my brother was going through his own shit at the time. His girl had just cheated on him, and he was just in a phase of he don't give a F. And at that time, he was my guardian. But long story short, me and him start kicking it, right? So we kicking it, and what happens when we kicking it? We move in with his mom. Well, he was always living with his mom, and we move in with his mom, and she let me come live with her at 15, 16 years old. Now, she always looked at me as a daughter. Mind you, my family really didn't come looking for me. That mean they came to look for me once or twice, but I felt like anything that I would run into would be better than what I had at the house. Because my brother was going through his thing, and he was so upset because his wife and his girlfriend was cheating on him, and he wasn't focused on raising me. And then she had told me some stuff that he had said about me, so that made me look at him crazy, like, okay, well, F you too. You know what I'm saying? You can't tell me shit because she done told me what you said about me behind my back. Now, mind you, my brothers and sisters were everything to me, but when I found out that they won't shit, they was literally praying on my downfall behind my back, instead of when I'm thinking they're trying to help me, then it was like, fuck them too. So long story short, I really wasn't believing what nobody said. All I knew is I was with my baby daddy, and his mama was showing me love and calling me her daughter and telling me that she loved me. Mind you, she had a major drinking problem. He didn't drink, he didn't smoke. He was totally against drinking and smoking because of what he saw his parents go through. They never kept a place to stay. I mean, stuff like that. But at the time I met them, she had a place to stay. But everybody was around me telling me, like, you don't want to mess with that dude. People that knew him was telling me, like, you don't want to mess with that dude. They do this, or him and his brothers do this and that and the third. Me, I'm in love. Of course, you're 16, you're 17, you don't give a fuck. So what happens? I get pregnant with my first child in 96. So my whole thing was, I'm not going to be pregnant and living on nobody. So I got pregnant. I got my first apartment, got my me and him moved into the apartment. He don't want to pay no bills. His mama lived right around the corner, so he don't really want to pay no bills. He want to be in the street. He don't want to work. Me, I'm going to work every day, preparing for this baby. So preparing for this baby, bought all the clothes, bought the crib, bought all this stuff for this child, right? So in my mind, I want to keep my family together because it's just me and him. So boom. We try. Okay, we get to a point where we move from that place to a nicer place. Absolutely beautiful place. All he had to do was just help me pay. He didn't want to do that, right? So we go on and on and on and on. And so the place is in his name because I can't get no place in my name because why? I'm underage. So he gets the place in his name. He don't pay the rent. I done had the baby, so I can't go to work and pay the rent. So we get evicted. So he gets evicted, and what does he do? He runs to South Carolina. Me, I go to stay back in an empty house that my father had. Mind you that this house had no heat. It was dilapidated. It was run down. It was just nowhere I wanted to be. So after being broken up with him for about, I would say, 3-4 weeks, I'm pregnant still, first child, and I'm like, you know what? I want to be with my baby daddy. So I call him. He come from South Carolina and scoop me up, right? Boom. So I'm thinking we gonna get to South Carolina. We gonna do what we need to do to get what we need to get. So we get to South Carolina and we stay with his grandmother. She can't stand me. I can't stand her. I don't like his cousins. Cousins don't like me. They constantly talking shit to me. I'm constantly like trying to ignore, but then I get to a point where I'm talking shit back to them. Like, again, I'm 16. They're a little bit older than me. The cousins around a little bit older than me. We're around the same age. Grandma just feel like, how the whole family just feel like, you ain't the type of woman he should be with or whatever. First of all, I wasn't a woman. I was a child. So why you ain't looking at him like, why the fuck you fucking with a young kid? But it was none of that back then. Younger women liked older dudes. That's just what it was. So we get down there. We finally get on our feet. He started working at an alarm company. I started working at a fast food restaurant. We get a beautiful home so yeah, we get on our feet, beautiful home, everything, house was gorgeous, whatever. Again, in his name, because at this time I'm still not old enough, right? So same whole thing. I go to working at fast food. He get him a nice job doing something. And then all of a sudden, he ain't working no more. He don't want to pay the bills. So instead of him wanting to get a job and pay the bills, he come to me and start talking about, robbing banks. And he's trying to talk me into, what? All you got to do is sit in the car. When you young and you dumb and you naive, especially me, because I ain't going to say I was sheltered all my life. I just wasn't around street folks. People that were street savvy. I was around folks that, worked, paid bills, did what they need to do, and that's all I know. That's what I know now. He was into making some quick money. Mind you, I done had my daughter. Now I'm pregnant with my son. So He like, you know what I'm saying, all you got to do is drive the car. You drive the car, and they won't put you in jail because you driving the car. All I got to do is run in, get the money, and run out. And all you got to do is drive. And in my mind, and I'm telling him, I'm like, no. He's like, they're not going to, you got a baby. Like, they're not going to lock you up. I don't give a fuck. Like, I didn't care. Like, I was smart enough to know, like, bro, I love you, but I don't love you that much to, you know what I'm saying, like, run to drive a car. Because something, even though back then I didn't know much about the judicial system, I just knew because you had a baby wasn't a reason not to put your ass in jail, female or male. So he kept trying to like talk me into this. And as time going on, we're losing everything. Now the rent is not getting paid. Now the lights are behind. Now, you know what I'm saying? Like it's we don't have food. So now he's done opened a checking account and he wants to write bad checks. So now he's bouncing checks everywhere. He bouncing checks everywhere. Now by him putting my name on that account, I'm tired with this shit. So one minute he don't have a car. Now he's showing up with another car. And I'm like, what the hell you getting a car? He was like, oh, we need baby stuff. He said, what we gonna do is just go to the store and I'm gonna get it. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, again, when you young and dumb, you don't know, like we're going to the store. At this time, I did not know. I came to find out later this is what he was doing. So we go to the store, get all the baby stuff we need, whatever. I have my son. He's still trying to talk me into robbing a freaking bank. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I'll work. I am not about to go and rob a bank, you know. So once he realized that, you know, I wasn't going to do it, he let it go for that time, right? So I get tired of being in South Carolina. I'm like, listen, I need to go back to my state because that's my state. I don't know nothing about these geeches down here in South Carolina. You know what I'm saying? These people act funny. Back then, it was just a Walmart. There was nothing else. So, boom, we get back to South Carolina. He got some car. We packed all the shit we could in the car and prayed that we make it back to North Carolina. When I saw the North Carolina sign, I was so happy. I was in South Carolina for 6 months, and that was the worst 6 months of my life. That's the first time I seen that, you know what I'm saying, you couldn't buy alcohol on Sundays, even though I didn't drink then, you know what I'm saying. But I was just like, I've never been in a town that small and that rural that everybody knew everybody. It was just crazy. So I was glad to be back in North Carolina. So we, again, boom, he don't work. You know what I'm saying, we moved back in with his mama. Have you ever lived with somebody just start talking shit because you there? First they say you could come, and then when you get there, oh, your child is doing this, y'all doing this, y'all not doing that. And you know what I'm saying? So in my mind, I was getting closer and closer to 18. So as soon as I get to 18, you know what I'm saying, I'm going to get my own shit. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody going to take it from me. My baby can make all the messes she want, and my son can make all the mess that he want, and ain't nobody going to say shit. So that's what I did, right? Boom. Mind you, I get my first apartment, my first car, everything. So we move into the apartment because I had my son and he moved us out of his mama house into my apartment. No, he moved us out of his mama house to my apartment while I was in the hospital with my son. So when I got out of the hospital, I went straight to the apartment. So boom, time going on. So now we on baby number 2. So I'm like, all right, cool. So let's get our stuff together. Again, I go to work, and I'm like, you need to go to work. He wants to play out here in these streets. He wants to play like he a gangster. Mind you, he can never pay bills, but somehow he could always come up with a car. So I'm like, boom. Like, you know what I'm saying? He got this one particular car, and that was a whole crazy situation. When I say that situation was crazy, it involved so much craziness. Let me know if y'all want to hear that story. That could be my next story. But now I'm working out the hospital, had the baby. I'm working. I become the manager of this clothing store. Guess what he tells me? He says, you're the manager of the store, right? You count the drawer. You do this, right? So why don't you just act like one night you go to make the drop and you get robbed? Bruh, like, I'm not going to jail for you. I'm not going to jail. I don't understand why you just can't get a job and work like normal people. You know what I'm saying? But as time is going on, I'm getting older. I got my license before I went to South Carolina. I never thought I would get my license. You know what I'm saying? I got older, so that means I could get my first apartment. So at some point in time, I'm not needing him as much. I can stand on my own. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, my family ain't shit. They ain't gonna do shit for me. So with that being said, like, I was like, I am not doing this. He was like, yeah, it's easy. All you got to do is act like, you know, when you was taking the bag to the bank, because back then they let you do night deposits. And the bank was not that far from where I worked. So he was like, you could just act like you got robbed. And I'm like, bruh, I got 2 kids. Mind you, I'm pregnant with my 3rd. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not doing that. You need to get your shit together. He just would not get his shit together. But mind you, could you imagine where I would be? Because I'm going to tell you what he did. I'm going to tell you what he did. He did 10 years. No, he did 6 years in prison. You want to know what he did 6 years in prison for? Robbing banks. Robbing banks. Now, he did all this shit probably years and years after we were together. Like, once I left him, once I hit 18, it was a wrap for me and him. Like, I had my own car, had my own apartment. I didn't need him. You know, I met my husband. But that little short period of time dealing with him, if I would have said yes to any of that shit, if I was just so gone to where some girls are gone. Anybody ever seen For My Man? Like, it's so easy when you're young to get caught up in being for your significant other, because they could talk you into some shit, and when you in love, you make dumbass decisions. It's just that I just think that, I don't know if it was my mom, because my mom died when I was 3 months old, but I just feel like it's always a force that always protected me. Yeah, we make dumb mistakes, because God protect fools and babies, and I feel like I was a fool and I was a baby. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was a higher power protecting me. Once I got that phone call and I was told that he went to prison for robbing banks, and how much time he got, and how many banks he robbed, and how many places he went to rob banks, I was just like, wow, he really did this shit. Like, he really did this shit. Can you imagine if I was just one of those people that just go along to get along? That's why I always stand on what I do and what I say, because I can't control nobody else, but I can control me. You know what I'm saying? And I've never been a follower. I'm a leader. I'm not perfect, but I'm never going to let somebody try to convince me to do some shit that I know in my heart, in my conscience, in my mind that is not right. And I urge you to do the same. So I just tell that story just because I want y'all to know. You could be young and dumb. You could have a fucked up upbringing. You could have a fucked up family. You could have a lot of shit going on with you when you're younger, and you can still pull it out. Because even though that nigga didn't help me do shit, nothing, no birthdays, no Christmas, no nothing for these children, I raised all these kids by myself. They all graduated. They all got good jobs. They all live on their own. They're all respectful members of society. You know what I'm saying? Like, I felt like, even though I had 3 of his kids, and once I had them 3 kids, my own father told me, listen, you're not going to find a husband because you already have a self-made family, you know what I'm saying, with somebody else. And no man's going to want you with 3 kids. And back in the 90s, if you had 3 kids, you usually had 3 baby daddies. I had 3 kids and I had 1 baby daddy because family was important to me. My mama had all her kids by one guy, and I wanted all my kids by the same guy. I just picked the worst possible motherfucker that I could find. Because, again, if you don't have no guidance and you don't have no type of role model and what type of man you're looking for, then you make dumb mistakes. But guess what? I pulled it out. I'm not ashamed. So anybody that want to get in my comments and say some stupid shit or whatever, turn the mirror around on you, motherfucker, and look at your life and see what. Yeah, take a look in the mirror and look at what you do. See, the only thing about me is I get on the internet and I let motherfuckers know that it ain't that bad out here in this world. If you make a mistake, you can turn it around. Ain't nobody perfect. You know what I'm saying? People, it's easy to get in your comments and get on your phone and judge folks. Judge away. I don't give a fuck. Only person I need to love me is God. And he's proven that over and over again. So if my story can help anybody to let them know, listen, life is life. You make mistakes. Get the fuck up and get up and do better. You can right your wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't give up. Just keep pushing. It's times you want to give up, but just don't fucking give up. Because I'm where I am today. And I ain't nobody in my family can say they contributed to me getting here. Nobody but God contributed me to getting here. Raising those kids, you're finding a husband, having a fourth child, but taking me and my children in and giving us a family and loving me and my children, because somebody told me, my daddy said it wasn't going to happen. What somebody speak over your life can't be, is not going to be. You only let it be if you decide that that's what you want. You know what I'm saying? So, again, keep your head up, keep pushing. And I appreciate you guys listening to my story, even though it was a long-ass story. It was a long-ass story, but it's refreshing, freeing, and therapeutic to talk about it, because there's certain things that you sit back in life and be like, you know what, that could have went left. That could have been real bad. Would I be sitting here to where I'm at now if I would have chose that? So thank you guys for liking, subscribing. I appreciate you guys. And let me know if you want to know, about that story that I told you about earlier. Take care. Bye.